who first measured eternity in stone? The question lingers in the mist as the jungle exhales the breath of 1,000 forgotten years. Dr. Elena Cruz kneels before a fractured stela, her torch trembling softly in the night air. Beneath her fingertips, a spiral of glyphs glimmers with dew, each symbol alive with a strange pulse, as if time itself were whispering through the cracks. The forest hums with quiet power. Somewhere beyond the canopy, howler monkeys cry, and the stars seem to shift. Elena feels the pull of something ancient, vast and waiting. The calendar carved before her is no ordinary count of days. It is a heartbeat, still echoing after centuries. She wonders not if it predicted the end of the world, but if it remembered its beginning. The air thickens with reverence as a faint hum rises, like the murmur of distant chanting, and the first secret of the Mayan calendar begins to awaken beneath her hands. Dawn rises soft and gold across the ruins. Elena wakes beside the stela, her notebook pressed to her chest as if guarding a secret. The jungle hums with life renewed. Birds calling, leaves dripping with dew. She senses the glyphs watching her, patient and eternal. Beneath the moss lies a story that defies destruction. One written not in words but in cycles. Her radio crackles faintly. Distant voices speak of a prophecy of ending. She smiles gently. They do not yet understand. The calendar, she suspects, was never about destruction. It was about turning, about the breath between one world and the next. As the first beam of sunlight strikes the stone, it catches the central glyph, illuminating it like a sunrise within the rock itself. Elena feels it pulse once, a soft heartbeat, and knows she has only begun to wake the memory of time. That night she dreams of the same temple, but alive. Torches burn along stairways, and the air vibrates with drums and voices. She sees him, a man robed in crimson and jade, gazing at the stars from a high platform. He moves his hands over a great stone wheel, turning it slowly as if shaping the heavens. A child offers him a bowl of obsidian water, where constellations ripple like fish. Elena hears his thoughts, not as words but feelings. Peace, precision, and awe. When she wakes, her hands are cold, as though they've touched stone long vanished. The jungle outside is silent, waiting. She whispers the word he spoke within her dream, Tsunun. The name settles in the air like dust over history, soft and certain. Elena's research deepens by candlelight. Maps, glyphs, and celestial charts cover the stone floor of her tent. She traces the long count backward, finding patterns where no one else has looked. Every 5,125 years, a great cycle completes, every ending a rebirth. The myths speak not of apocalypse but of renewal, the gods returning to breathe life into the fifth world. Outside, rain begins to fall, tapping softly on the canvas. She feels the rhythm merge with her heartbeat, sensing to the pulse she felt in the stela. Time, she realizes, is not something to end. It folds, it breathes, it sleeps. And somewhere, deep beneath these ruins, it waits to awaken again. By the third night, the rain stops. A heavy stillness settles over Tikal. Elena walks once more to the temple, her lantern dim. She feels drawn toward a shadowed corner near the base of the stela. The ground there sounds hollow. Carefully, she brushes aside the wet soil and finds a stone ring carved with unfamiliar glyphs. Its inner markings spiral inward, stopping at a single date, December 21st, 2012. Her breath catches. The world called it a prophecy of doom, yet the symbol carved beside it is not destruction. It is the flower of rebirth. As thunder murmurs in the distance, Elena lowers her hand into the opening, feeling the cool air rising from beneath the temple floor. Something ancient breathes below, waiting for her to descend. The night sky stretches vast above Tikal, constellations shimmering like frozen fires. Elena sits beside the newly uncovered stone ring, tracing the carved spirals with careful fingers. Somewhere in the hum of the jungle, she feels the pulse of a time long past. She dreams again of him, Sunun, the Mayan astronomer priest, standing on the temple's highest platform, arms extended toward the heavens. He murmurs the alignment of Venus, tracing invisible paths through the stars. His intent is not fear, but understanding. Elena realizes that the date carved in stone marks not an apocalypse, but a cosmic rhythm, a cycle completing itself as the world breathes in and out, like one vast, eternal body. The calendar is a hymn, a map of time itself, and she, a visitor through centuries, is beginning to understand its quiet language. Elena watches the constellations through her telescope, cross-referencing the positions with the ancient glyphs. The stars seem to respond, their movements echoing Tsununa's carvings. She whispers the sequence aloud, each number feeling like a heartbeat. The jungle is quiet, as if listening. Somewhere beneath her, the stone ring hums faintly, vibrating with the rhythm of cycles older than memory. Elena realizes the calendar counts not days, but epochs, patterns of creation, preservation, and renewal. Each celestial alignment, each planetary motion has its place, and humanity has merely caught a glimpse of a vast, patient clockwork. She closes her eyes, imagining Tsunun observing the same stars centuries ago, thinking, "We are not ending, we are awakening." In the dream, Elena steps into Tsunun's temple chamber. The air smells of earth and smoke. Incense curls in thin streams toward the thatched ceiling. Priests murmur numbers and symbols, their voices low and harmonious. Tsunun traces the long count calendar in the air, his fingers glowing with imagined light, connecting one glyph to the next in perfect sequence. A young apprentice, 14, watches silently, awe in his eyes as he mirrors the priest's movements. Elena feels her heartbeat sync with the rhythm of this ancient lesson. Understanding that time was never a straight path. It folded, looped, spiraled, each ending a doorway into another beginning. When she awakens, the knowledge stays, woven into her mind like threads of starlight. Elena walks the temple grounds at sunrise years old, absorbing the calm of the jungle as birds rise in chorus. She thinks of Sunun, balancing rituals and astronomy, and the apprentice, learning not just numbers but the sacred rhythm of existence. The calendar is a bridge, connecting the people to the cycles of the sun, the moon, and the distant stars. Each glyph she studies is a note in a symphony of time played over centuries. Elena feels the pulse of this rhythm beneath her feet, as if the stones themselves remember the steps of those who once walked here. The past is not gone. It circulates, awaiting recognition. She breathes deeply and allows herself to step into the pattern, feeling as if she is learning the steps along with them. By evening, Elena sits beneath the central pyramid and watches shadows lengthen across the carvings of the long count. The wind carries whispers of Sunun and the apprentice, a faint echo of chants that seem older than the stones themselves. She sketches the calendar, noting the cycles of creation, pause, and renewal. She understands now. The so-called end date is simply the moment a cycle closes and another begins. It is a cosmic sigh, a turning of a vast celestial wheel. Elena leans back on the warm stone, eyes tracing the first stars of night. Somewhere between memory and dream, past and present merge, and she feels, for the first time, the heartbeat of the universe echoing in her own. The world beyond the jungle stirs with whispers of doom. Elena watches news feeds scroll endlessly on a dim laptop screen, each headline screaming the end of the world, with images of crumbling cities and fiery sky. She presses her hand to the stone ring beside her, the carvings pulsing faintly beneath her fingers. Her voice is calm as she speaks into a recorder. The date is not a prophecy of destruction, but a mark of cycles of rebirth. The media, however, does not hear her. Somewhere, Sunun seems to smile from centuries past, as if aware of the confusion his careful carvings would one day inspire. The apprentice watches silently beside him in the vision, absorbing lessons in patience, in understanding. Across time, Elena feels a bridge forming between knowledge and fear, between intention and misinterpretation. A storm begins outside the tent, raindrops drumming on the canvas like impatient fingers. Elena traces the long count on a worn piece of paper, counting cycles and epochs. Every glyph she touches hums faintly with the memory of Sunon, guiding her silently through the patterns. In her imagination, the apprentice reaches for her hand as though to reassure her. Time does not end. It turns. The wind shakes the trees, but the symbols remain, patient and eternal. She whispers to the storm, "It is not the end." Somewhere deep in the ruins, the stone ring vibrates, echoing her words back to the past, a reminder that understanding can ripple across centuries. The city outside wakes to panic. Social media erupts, spreading fear faster than the morning sun. Elena turns off her laptop, sighing at the chaos. She closes her eyes and feels the pulse of the calendar beneath her fingers, a rhythm unaffected by human misunderstanding. Sunun and the apprentice appear in her vision once more, calm, grounded, deliberate. They remind her that knowledge is patient and that the universe will continue its cycles regardless of rumor. The world may tremble at the word end, but the stones, the stars, and the river of time remain constant, unhurried, and eternal. Elena takes a long walk through the quiet jungle at dusk. Leaves glisten from a recent rain, and the scent of wet earth fills her senses. She imagines Sunun, pointing to a distant alignment of stars, explaining the return of cycles. The apprentice follows, wide-eyed, recording every gesture in his memory. Elena realizes that humanity's fascination with endings is natural, but misinformed. Each cycle brings renewal, each prophecy, a gentle reminder of patience. The jungle listens with her, the stones remember, and the wind carries a soft echo of laughter, ancient and human, teaching her once more that time cannot be destroyed, only understood. Night returns with a velvet hush. Elena sits once more before the stone ring, tracing the date with gentle fingers. She breathes slowly, grounding herself in cycles instead of chaos. The world may still misunderstand, she knows, but she has glimpsed the truth. Time is a wheel, spinning silently, repeating its patterns in peace. Sunun bows in vision, and the apprentice echoes the gesture, hands folded as if in prayer. Together, past and present align, revealing that the calendar's power is not in fear, but in the quiet understanding that life, like the stars above, moves in endless, eternal return. The jungle is silent as Elena descends into the shadowed passage beneath the stela. Her lantern sways gently, casting long, trembling shadows across the carved stone walls. The air is cool and damp, carrying the faint scent of earth and time. Every step echoes like a heartbeat through the cavern. As she moves deeper, the carvings shift from familiar glyphs to spirals and concentric circles, their meaning almost alive. She traces a finger along one spiral, and the wall seems to vibrate under her touch. Elena feels the rhythm of centuries beneath her palm, as though the stones themselves are breathing. Somewhere beyond her senses, Sunun guides her silently, his presence a calm pulse through the darkness, while the apprentice watches, hands folded, absorbing every motion. The hidden mechanism of stone and shadow waits to reveal its secret. Our war, the corridor opens into a circular chamber, its ceiling high and domed, echoing with a soft, ancient hum. Stone rings interlock across the floor, carved with glyphs that spiral toward the center. Elena kneels carefully, feeling the energy pulse beneath her hands. One ring tilts under her touch, revealing hidden grooves aligned with constellations above. She realizes it is not merely a calendar, but a device, a celestial map that charts the cycles of the heavens. Sunun and the apprentice appear in her mind's eye, hands sweeping across the stone, demonstrating patterns of stars and planets. Elena understands the rhythm of the universe is mechanical, eternal, and yet intimately alive, as if the temple itself is a heartbeat of time. As she leans closer to inspect a central ring, Elena accidentally presses a glyph. The floor shivers slightly, and a section of the chamber rotates, revealing a deep recess beneath the stone. Cold air rises, carrying the faint scent of moss and centuries. Her heartbeat quickens with awe and caution. She imagines Sunun standing beside her in that moment, whispering that the cycles are alive, that even stone remembers. The apprentice watches silently, absorbing the lesson in reverent stillness. Elena lowers herself carefully into the opening, feeling as though she is stepping into both time and memory, bridging centuries with one deliberate motion. The hidden mechanism begins to reveal its most intimate secret, a map of stars, of life, and of endless turning. Inside the recess, Elena discovers a polished reflection chamber at the center. The walls are smooth stone, catching her lantern light and scattering it like stars across the floor. She places her hands on the cold surface, and constellations shimmer to life, shifting slowly, as though alive. The chamber mirrors the sky above, revealing planetary positions, cycles of Venus, and distant alignments known only to Sunun and the apprentice. Centuries ago, Elena feels a strange vertigo, as if stepping simultaneously into past and present. The air hums softly, echoing the rhythm of creation itself. She realizes the calendar is not a countdown to an end, but a living mechanism that maps the pulse of the universe. Cycles, turning silently and eternally. 6 seconds stretch into eternity as Elena watches the constellations shift. Each movement is precise, deliberate. The heavens themselves are turning beneath her gaze. She sees Sunun bowing slightly, hands sweeping in harmony with the celestial dance, while the apprentice mirrors his gestures with careful devotion. The hidden mechanism has unlocked its truth. The calendar is not a warning, but a rhythm, a heartbeat of the universe. Elena breathes in slowly, grounding herself in this revelation. Outside, the jungle murmurs with quiet life, unaware of the wonders hidden beneath its roots. And in that stillness she understands, endings are illusions, and every cycle is an invitation to awaken once more. Elena, 38, emerges from the hidden chamber into the cool jungle night, lantern casting soft circles of light on the ancient stones. The air is thick with the scent of moss and wet earth. She closes her eyes and imagines Sunun standing above her centuries ago, guiding the apprentice with gestures that trace the cycles of sun, moon, and stars. Every glyph, every alignment is a note in a cosmic symphony, a reminder that endings are never final. The long count flows endlessly, folding upon itself like a river that loops back to its source. Elena breathes in slowly, feeling as though she has stepped into the heartbeat of creation itself. Somewhere in the shadows, the jungle hums approval, and she understands. The world is a wheel, turning gently, eternally, and she is a witness to its rhythm. Dawn breaks, painting the temple stones in hues of gold and amber. Elena sits on the steps, tracing her fingers along the carvings that map the cycles of creation. She sees in her mind Sunun drawing lines between planets and stars, the apprentice following carefully. Each movement is deliberate, reverent, like a prayer written in stone. She understands now that the Mayans saw life as spirals, each cycle birthing the next. The date once feared as the end is instead a marker, the turning of a wheel, the opening of a new chapter. Elena closes her eyes, feeling the rhythm in her chest, the pulse of centuries echoing through her bones. Time, she realizes, is a story that never stops telling itself. The jungle is alive with whispers of wind and wings. Elena stands at the summit of the central pyramid, gazing at the horizon where the sun rises. She feels the pulse of the calendar beneath her feet, each stone vibrating with memory. Sunun appears in vision, hands extended toward the sky, teaching that the cycles are gifts, not threats. The apprentice mirrors his gestures, awe shining in his eyes. Elena imagines the countless generations who once stood here, following the same rhythm, understanding that creation is continuous. The calendar does not stop for fear or misunderstanding. It turns quietly, faithfully, an eternal song written in stone and stars. Elena inhales deeply, letting the rhythm of life wash over her, grounding her in the quiet certainty of cycles. In the late morning, Elena walks slowly along the temple terraces, tracing the paths of the sun as it arcs overhead. She sketches the cycles in her journal, linking glyphs to planetary positions. Sunun gestures toward the constellations, and the apprentice notes every alignment in clay tablets that seem to glow with memory. Elena smiles softly. Each cycle, each rhythm, is a whisper of understanding for those willing to see beyond fear. She realizes the Mayans' genius was not predicting an end, but teaching humanity to read the heartbeat of the universe. Every turn of the calendar, every movement of the planets is a reminder. Creation continues, infinite, eternal, and gentle. Evening falls soft and quiet. Elena sits once more before the stone ring, watching shadows deepen across the carvings. The jungle hums with cicadas and distant frogs. She closes her eyes and imagines Sunun, bowing in reverence, and the apprentice mirroring him. Together, past and present align in a single eternal moment. The calendar is alive, a mechanism of understanding, of cycles, of creation. Elena exhales slowly, a gentle smile forming, knowing that the world did not end, and that it will never truly stop. It simply turns, again and again, a circle of life traced in stone, star, and human memory. The sun rises slowly, spilling gold across the jungle canopy. Elena climbs the temple stairs with deliberate steps, feeling the heartbeat of the stones beneath her feet. The air shimmers with heat and anticipation. She imagines Sunun, standing at the apex centuries ago, guiding the apprentice as the first light strikes the temple's central glyph. Each shadow aligns perfectly, tracing constellations known only to the Maya. Elena breathes in the warmth, sensing a cosmic pulse that echoes across time. The calendar, she realizes, is not merely a record of days, but a key. A bridge between human memory and the infinite rhythms of the heavens. Light and shadow weave together, and she feels herself stepping into a prophecy, not of doom, but of illumination. Elena kneels before the illuminated glyph, tracing its spiral with her fingers. Light flows through the carved stone like liquid gold. She feels the pulse of centuries beneath her palm, the rhythm of creation itself. In vision, Sunun sweeps his hands across the sky, while the apprentice follows, recording celestial movements on clay tablets. Each alignment reveals a cosmic pattern. The sun, moon, planets, and distant stars moving in a precise eternal dance. Elena whispers the numbers aloud, matching her breath to the pulse of the universe. She understands that this is a prophecy not of fear, but of awakening, a reminder that light returns, cycles continue, and knowledge passes gently from one generation to the next. The chamber hums with energy as Elena rises, feeling a warmth spread through her chest. Shadows and light dance across the carvings, echoing ancient wisdom. She sees Sunun guiding the apprentice, and together they trace constellations long forgotten. Every movement is intentional, a perfect harmony of knowledge and devotion. Elena realizes the prophecy is alive, not written in fear, but in light. Each cycle of the sun marks a passage of understanding. each shadow a lesson. The jungle outside seems to lean in, listening as if the world itself acknowledges the revelation. The calendar points not to endings, but to illumination, the awakening of awareness and the gentle pulse of eternal time. Afternoon falls over Tikal, the air alive with birdsong and rustling leaves. Elena sits quietly, journal in hand, sketching the alignment of planets, stars, and the sun. Sunun and the apprentice appear in vision, guiding her, hands moving in precise, graceful arcs. Every line, every stroke is a connection between the heavens and human memory. Elena feels the weight of centuries lift as understanding spreads through her chest. The prophecy of light is simple. Knowledge, patience, and observation illuminate the cycles of creation. Fear has no place here. Only awareness, wonder, and quiet reverence for the eternal rhythm that has always existed and always will. As twilight drapes the jungle in deep purple and gold, Elena rises to the highest platform. Stars begin to pierce the sky. She sees Sunun, bowing slightly, and the apprentice mirroring the gesture. The sun's last rays catch the carvings, illuminating a final glyph. When the sun returns to the heart of the sky, so too does memory awaken. Elena feels the truth of it pulse through her veins. A bridge across time, a reminder that cycles are endless and light always returns. The prophecy is complete, not with fear, but with quiet revelation. She exhales slowly, letting the knowledge sink deep, knowing the Mayan calendar speaks of awakening, not endings, and that every cycle is a doorway into understanding. Night settles over Tikal with a velvet hush. Elena walks slowly among the temple stones, her lantern casting soft circles of light. The jungle hums with quiet life. Leaves rustle, distant frogs call, and stars shimmer faintly above. She imagines Sunun and the apprentice, their gestures calm and precise, guiding cycles unseen. The calendar's pulse still resonates beneath her fingers, a rhythm older than memory. Elena feels the continuity of existence, the unbroken pattern of creation, preservation, and renewal. Endings, she understands, are illusions. The world has never stopped, only turned. The stars, the stones, and the jungle itself whisper a truth. Life is a cycle, infinite and eternal, and every moment is both ending and beginning. By the first light of dawn, Elena sits atop the central pyramid, gazing at the horizon where gold spills across the jungle canopy. She traces the carvings that map the cycles of the long count, feeling the pulse of centuries beneath her hands. Sunun and the apprentice appear in vision once more, guiding the cosmic rhythm with gentle precision. Every star, every planetary alignment, every glyph is part of a song that never ends. Elena realizes that the Mayans' wisdom was never about fear, but understanding. A teaching that time folds upon itself, and that each cycle is an opportunity to awaken. The world is eternal, patient, and infinitely generous, and she is part of its quiet, enduring heartbeat. Afternoon descends in soft warmth. Elena walks slowly along the temple terraces, her journal open. She sketches the cycles, mapping planets, stars, and glyphs, as if connecting centuries in a single stroke. Sunun gestures toward the heavens, and then the apprentice mirrors his movements with reverence. Elena feels a profound peace, knowing that understanding is not a moment, but a living rhythm. The end of the world was never true. It was never meant to frighten. It was an invitation to see the patterns, honor the cycles, and awaken to the eternal flow. She breathes deeply, the stones beneath her warm, the jungle alive, and the stars above silent witnesses to the eternal return. As evening falls, Elena sits before the stone ring one last time. The jungle is calm. Cicadas and frogs create a soft chorus. She imagines Sunun bowing with respect, and the apprentice echoing the movement. Time, she realizes, is not linear. It is a spiral, each loop bringing new insight, new awareness. The calendar, the stars, the cycles, all remind her that life is not fragile, but enduring. Every moment holds a doorway to understanding. She exhales slowly, letting the quiet rhythm settle into her bones. The world has never ended, and it never will. It simply turns, again and again, like the heartbeat of a patient, infinite universe. Night deepens into silence. Alina leans back against a warm stone, eyes tracing the stars above. The jungle sleeps, yet the calendar's heartbeat continues beneath her fingertips. Sunun and the apprentice fade from vision, their lessons settled in her mind. The Mayan calendar, once feared as a prophecy of doom, has revealed its true nature. A map of cycles, a song of eternal return. Elena smiles softly, feeling the pulse of centuries, the rhythm of life, and the gentle certainty that the world never ends. It simply turns in perfect, infinite harmony. Stars shimmer through the canopy, and the whisper of eternity carries across the ruins, calm, reassuring, and infinite.